So let's talk about personalizing your LinkedIn ads at scale. So I was sharing an image with Eric a few minutes ago. There's a company called User Gems, I believe it is.
Mhm,
And they'll say like, hey, NP Digital, but they won't write NP Digital. They'll actually slap in our logo.
mhm.
And the example I sent Eric of these screenshots, they have variations for all like, hey, AVI, SPL, hey Frontier, hey CGS. I don't know all these company names.
Mhm.
But in essence, what they're doing is they're running targeted LinkedIn ads to each and every single company with an image just for them, which obviously you can do really quickly because of AI. And when I was showing Eric, because he has Carrot, which is not carrot.com. What's the URL?
Carrot.ai, Karrot.ai.
Yeah. So when you check out Carrot, and we are talking about this, because with LinkedIn ads, they're super expensive. But, we all know personalization is important and targeting specific corporations that are your ideal fit is important, especially if you're going to do LinkedIn ads because of the cost. But why not just do creatives that are super personalized at scale? I did not actually check out their ad library, but someone on my team's like they have thousands, and I don't know if they actually have thousands or they're using that as an expression. But yeah, you can, personalization is nothing that's really new, but you can just do this with ease now, while before you couldn't. And I was asking him, I'm like, have we done this for any clients? What were the results? And they were just like, yes, it produces for when we tested it out, and we've done it for a handful of customers. They were saying that it produces anywhere from a 7 to a less than 20% better ROI for the same spend, which isn't bad. Every little extra dollar really does add up.
So what are you guys using to personalize LinkedIn ads at scale?
Reuse your solution.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, how do you use it?
We use it.
Huh?
Glass Solo.
What?
Yeah.
That's not possible.
It is possible.
But you're not paying for it. That's good.
Yeah, we're not paying for
Okay,
it.
that's good. That's good. Okay, good. It's good to know that. So it's good to know that you're using Carrot because here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing here. Personalized, especially in AI world, people want personalization. They want to feel like they're being spoken to like a human, right?
Mhm.
Um, I actually think, so User Gems has one. There's another competitor in space. They're coming out with one. And so User Gems, I was just checking their LinkedIn. I think they're series B. Let me just look at Series A, $20 million, okay? And then there's another player in the space, maybe raised 50, $60 million, and then they
Wait, User Jam raised how much? 20,000,000?
20 million, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the player in the UK who copied us pretty quickly on this feature. This is the feature that we came out with in November. So these people
Yeah.
ship relatively quickly, right? That's a whole thing we can talk about in a second. Like in SaaS, you're better off just looking at what seems to work and just copying very quickly. Like no feature is too safe.
But these ads, I think, would work really well for you guys.
They do. So here's what we've seen from a number standpoint. We have one customer who's willing to pay about $1,500 per lead, right? Because they're enterprise SaaS. They're getting leads using Carrot for $500 a pop for these LinkedIn personalized ads. And then we have another customer. They were struggling to get this large beverage company that everyone knows, and they actually ended up shaking it loose from their pipeline and getting that deal done, right? So they know it's driving customers. What I'll say to any of these people who are listening to this personalized LinkedIn ads thing is nice. It's not enough. It's not enough as a feature, right? So
Yeah.
that's why, we copied other people, which is like the personalized landing pages, right? And then we're adding in website de-anonymization, which there's a lot of products that have that. But then we're also adding in, like, for example, if I engage with one of your posts and I'm part of your ICP, we'll reveal that it's an ICP engager is happening, and we'll say, hey, do you want us to customize it outreach? So there's a lot more that we need to build within this. But the very start of this, personalized LinkedIn ads at scale, yes, it works.
It does definitely does work. And when you're saying you're de-anonymizing visitors, you're talking about providing their email address because you know who's visiting what site, correct?
Yeah, more than that, though, it's saying, hey, we found this person over here. Here's what we think you should be messaging this person. And then the more integrations we have, we can say, okay,
Hmm.
you emailed this person like 12 months ago. Here's the conversations you've had in Gong or like email. Here's the recommended outreach we think you should do to revive this lead, right? So we think B2B, it's just like, how do you make it easier? Because, and this could be the next topic, I just came back from a B2B SaaS founder retreat where there's a bunch of 8, 9 figure founders there.
You didn't go to Vegas?
No. Why would I go to
Ah,
Vegas? Oh, no, Vegas is no, don't reveal Vegas, but Vegas is supposed to be this weekend.
Supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
So that means no go on Vegas.
Well, that's because our mutual friend was gonna come, but we might do it the next weekend because the hotel rooms are $3,000 a night for this weekend. And then
Forget
I
that.
went to Perplexity. I was like, "Why are the hotel rooms $3,000 a night?" And it's like, "Oh, because it's like a U2 farewell concert or something like that." Yeah.
Oh, at the Sphere or
Or no,
something.
AC/DC, AC/DC. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's like I remember
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead. I think Butthead used to wear the AC/DC shirt.
AC/DC,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So okay, wanna know what I learned from this little retreat?
So before I wanna know what you learned, I wanna know the type of people that were there,
Uh-huh.
roughly how many,
Uh-huh.
and when I'm saying type of people, I'm talking about, like, their roles, but also company
Yeah.
size. And the reason I want that is I can then, think about the learnings, respectively for a company size and if it could be, applicable.
Yeah, totally. So this event, I was there from Sunday to like middle of the day Tuesday, and we did it in Temecula, so it was an easy drive for me. Some people had to fly from like Toronto, some people from Miami and all that, and a 2 hour drive for me. But so the group one, I'll just give you kind of the breakdown of some of these people. So they're all founders, okay? They're all founder CEOs, and I would say that some of them have built their SaaS company to 9 figures and then sold it. Some have built to like mid 8 figures or so, call it 40, 50 million or so. Some have sold their companies for like 50, 60 million or something like that. So they're all part of YPO. So there's a certain level. And then one guy in the group, he actually helped build Calendly. And so, Calendly became like a big thing as
Yeah.
well. So that is the setup of the group. It's a group of guys, and then we just ended up chilling in like a home in
So
Temecula.
all 8 figures, some 9 figures?
Uh-huh.
A lot 9 figures or most like maybe
Let's just say
1?
like 2 out of 8.
Got it. So most of them are 8 figures, call it like 10, 20 million-ish in revenue.
10, 20, some like 40, 50. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's the group. Like and then let me just give you some of the
Wait,
takeaway.
and they were all founders or they were hired guns?
Everyone It seems like everyone's a founder. Maybe one might be a hired gun, but that's a different story because he works with his spouse. So,
Okay,
yeah, and then the spouse, like, founded, like, a really big company in the past and sold for, like, I think a healthy nine-figure amount.
good for them.
Yeah. So, here's what I learned. The big thing is people in B2B SaaS, they have no idea what to do with go-to-market right now. 0 clue. And a lot of people, it's like a sunk cost fallacy. They're like, "Oh, but I invested so much in SEO." I'm like, "So what? Doesn't mean you deserve traffic right now." All right? So everyone seems to be confused about go-to-market, but where I kinda left them all is like, "Guys, like, it is the search everywhere optimization thing." I said,
Yeah.
"Guys, you have to be creating content, like, in some way, shape, or form. I don't care if you hire an in-house influencer and pay them, like, 200 plus or something like that, maybe give them some upside, or you have to figure it out on your own." "Well, I don't like being on camera." Well, I'm like, "So stop being selfish. Like, your job is to figure out how you can help other people with the knowledge that you have." And we started talking about the Cluely people, right? And then one of the guys in the group, he has like a basically, it's like a screen for weapons in a school, right? Imagine that. Like there's a lot of
H
school shootings that happen.
his SaaS will screen for
Yeah.
weapons?
Yes.
How? Like through a metal detector or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know enough details, but I basically started telling people, I was like, "Guys, like, what is, like, the most outlandish stuff guys can come up with?" And that guy was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk into a store with a cowboy hat with a gun and see what happens." I'm like, "That's a little outlandish, like, you might get in trouble for that."
Depends on the state,
Yeah,
but yes.
Texas. It'll work in Texas because
Yeah,
you can
you get in
carry in
Texas.
Texas, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But that's what his current software does.
yeah, yeah.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah, and so everyone has, like, interesting stuff, right, where they have a lot of data. Some might be in, like, KYC, which is know your customer.
Yeah.
Some might be in, like, real estate where, they can offer you a deal where, like, for example, if I register okay, let's say I registered for an apartment. Let's say you're the landlord, right? Let's say you reject me, but I had to go you pulled my credit, you did all these things, right? I did a lot of work. You rejected me because 'cause I'm too risky, but what if Noah over here and, like, 3 other people all of a sudden can appear and say, "Hey, you've already done the work. We're gonna approve you," right? So
Yeah.
that's a really cool offer. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you not just float that offer everywhere? And so I think it's just pushing these people a little more, but everyone seems confused on go to market right now because the game has changed so rapidly from a marketing standpoint. So that's number one. Do you have any follow-ups on that before I go through some others?
No, keep going.
Okay. Um, I think the second part is it's everyone wants community, right? Like we've talked about this quite a bit, like human to human, and it's apparent that a lot of people don't. I think I've gotten lucky with being in part of these different groups, right? Where I'm able to meet with multiple people once, like
Wha
two
Wait,
times a
let's
year.
back
So
up. Are you talking about they want community for their customers want community or they themselves
friendship,
want? So they themselves as founders and operators
Yeah.
want community,
Yeah, it's lonely, yeah, because they say they don't really have, hangouts like this, right? Whereas I have, like, 2 other groups at the minimum.
but they're in YPO, no? This
They
is a
are,
YPO
but they
retreat?
don't have so in YPO, we actually talked about this a little bit. In YPO, their forums, their core group back home, they don't really talk about SaaS and business all the time. It's more like personal stuff, right? So you would actually like a group like this because all we talked about was business the whole time. So that's what I would say.
But their YPO group is mainly personal.
Correct. Yeah, and the same thing with mine. My YPO group is more personal, and my
Okay.
YPO group likes to they like to go out and party, right? And so like every group is different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you mentioned that when you guys travel,
yeah.
you wanna go to sleep and they wanna drink.
Drink or yeah, it's they
Well,
like going
whatever,
out.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think it's everyone's looking for a community. It's about founders. It's a very lonely game. And I think the other piece is everyone is I'll tell you one other thing I learned. I don't want to reveal this person, but it just reinforces the fact that you don't want to have outside stakeholders as much as possible. Like some of these people have raised multiple times and sold multiple times, but they would prefer not to, because one company was forced to sell by not necessarily their investors, or you can say investors, but a bank forced them to sell because the bank thought the business was too risky, even though the business was starting to take off. The bank forced them to sell. Isn't that crazy?
That means they had debt and they were struggling to pay the debt, or else the bank would have never forced them to sell.
It was a combination of debt, but also it was their contract sizes were not like pure play SaaS. You had some that were like government contracts that were like maybe like one offs, and then maybe like only a portion of it was like actual recurring revenue SaaS.
Yeah, but they breached their covenants. For the bank to put pressure and be able to
Yeah.
force a transaction,
Yeah.
that means they had debt from the bank
Yeah.
and something went wrong and they weren't able to make their
But
payments.
we talked about this too with you we were talking about this a little bit. It's like
Ideally, yes.
ideally you don't have these covenants, and ideally what did Charlie Munger say? Men go broke through three things: ladies, liquor, and leverage. And the first two are for fun. So it's really leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sucks because like he clearly had something going, right? The other thing I learned too is there's one guy in the group. He has leveraged everything, by the way. So we're talking about leverage, right? But I
What do you
don't
mean say leverage everything? Like give an example.
home, everything, like, you leverage out the wazoo for, like, you basically you've put all your chips in the middle for your business, like,
So he's maxed out
he's
his
maxed out everything,
mortgage, his
everything,
car loans, everything,
everything. Yeah.
but no investors, that
He
means.
has investors too, and I think he's, like, pulled, like, some crazy terms too, like, I think the interest rates are a astronomically high. Yeah, we're talking like 30%. I don't have the exact numbers here, but it's insane.
Wow.
But it's like this is like, oh man, you have really put all your chips in the middle, and like I applaud you. I'm scared for you, but I applaud you
Yeah,
for having the guts to do it.
I couldn't do it.
I can't do it either. I think that would hang over my
Is
head.
that person married with children?
Yeah,
Oh, I definitely couldn't do it. If I was single,
yeah.
not married, no kids, it's a different story.
But his whole thing is like, I look, no matter what, it's gonna be a great story. I'm like, that is true. It's gonna be a great story, whether it's good or bad. It's gonna be a great story.
Imagine your kids not having a roof over their head. That is not a good story.
It's not a good story, but hey, but it's still a story.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are just a couple of high level things I'll say,
But
and
by the way, I wish that person the best of luck, and I'm knocking on wood for their luck. I don't want them to
I think they've
lose.
got something good, and I hope they can figure it out. One final thing I'll say here, and then we can move on. So there's one person in the group. You know how you and I talk about like we've had to learn our lesson with focus, right? How long did it take you to learn your lesson of focus?
More than 10 years.
Okay, same for me, right? More than 10 years. Now, there's one guy in the group, and let's just say he has a couple businesses, right? More than a couple of businesses. And he was basically like, what am I supposed to do with all this? Like, he wants like a very big outcome at the end of the day, right? But, I kind of shared my experiences, and everyone in the group was basically like, you're going to have to kill some of these things, right? But he's like, well, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here, right? And even though the lesson was focus, I don't think he necessarily is going to take that advice or those experience shares. And what my conclusion afterwards was like, dude, maybe that's okay. Maybe he enjoys having all these different things, and maybe he says he wants the multi-billion-dollar outcome or whatever, but maybe he doesn't really want it inside. I think he enjoys what he's doing already, so just let him do it, right? There's no like right or wrong, but I don't genuinely believe he wants a huge outcome, and he already is doing really well. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe just keep doing what you're doing. Like, forget whatever we shared. Just do what's comfortable to you. I just learned that I get less anxiety from focusing. So
Yeah, focusing makes things easier. I agree with you on that. But some people perform well with the non-focused business. It kind of can be focused. A great example of this is we have a mutual friend named Syed who lives in Florida. Most of his business is around the WordPress ecosystem,
Yep.
but he has a lot of businesses. He invests in quite a few, doesn't always own majority from my understanding. Sometimes he does, or sometimes he owns
Most of the time,
100%.
no. Yeah.
And he also owns businesses outside of tech.
Mhm.
And I look at him as an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that'll limit his earning potential because I don't believe, I've seen people not have focus like private equity funds, and people become billionaires from that. Um, and they just continue to buy a lot of different businesses in
We
different
both
verticals.
would agree that that is their business.
That
That's
is their
yeah,
business.
yeah.
But I look at like Syed, for example. I think he thrives in that environment and enjoys it. I think he'll
I
get bored with just one business.
I think I look at Syed as more of an investor, and the reason I say that is because the forum that he's in YPO is like a fully decked out investor forum,
Okay.
right? And I think you're gonna like
I
he's
agree with this.
very
He's minority owned for a lot. I mean,
yeah,
uh, I'm not saying he's a minority, although technically he is in a US classification,
yeah.
but I meant more so when he's investing, he's taking a minority
Yeah.
chunk.
He's very much a student of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and so and when
Yeah.
he even just when he talks in general, he thinks like an investor, and if he has to roll up his sleeves every now and then, like, he'll do it, but for the most part, he stays pretty hands off. So, I look at private equity, I look at Syed more as investors. I look at this guy as he really likes getting involved in all these different things, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I would say focus, but just do what works for you."
Yep.
So, yeah.
On a random note, what do you think's gonna happen to WordPress with all these changes with AI and like Lovable and all these solutions that can just
Are you talking about this because of the thread? I saw a thread the other day on Twitter.
I did not see a thread, but I've been messing around with Lovable a lot recently.
Yeah.
Um,
You like
and
Lovable?
I was using it to help create a better version of one of the reports, a design report that one of my product team ended up sending me for Uber Suggest,
Yeah.
and I wanted to come up with my own variation. So I'm like, let me just use Lovable and see what I can
Dude, you
end up
gotta use
creating.
V0 for that by Vercel. Did you do that?
No, I did not. I'll do that
V0 is
next.
better for front ends.
And I did not get the best results with Lovable.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right. Um, but generally speaking, I'm just like, WordPress as a business, I was starting to think about it. I still think there's a big ecosystem for them, just like I think there's a big ecosystem for Shopify still, and their stock price, at least with Shopify, shows it. But I think their model is gonna have to change on how they adapt. Shopify is easier because they'll just create partnerships with like the Chat GPTs if they already have it, make it easier to buy within Chat GPT, which is great for them. But WordPress, I would say, is much more slower moving organization, in my opinion. I don't have any data on who's moving faster, but like when I actually look at releases and progress, I've seen Shopify make way more progress over the years than I've seen WordPress make. And it's not to knock WordPress; they've built a bigger company than I have built, so I'm not trying to be negative here, but I don't know how they're actually gonna adapt to this new world.
So, I was reading this the other day, but, I think it was Jason Lemkin that made this point, but basically, if you look at Lovable, you look at Replit, you're basically paying $20, $200 a month or whatever versus what used to be free, which is WordPress, right?
Yeah.
So it is gonna I think it's gonna take some time. I do think WordPress will eventually, quote unquote, become dethroned or won't be the king in the space anymore because they power 40% of the web right now still, right? The websites. I think that's gonna continue to go down because people are now willing to pay for what used to be free. And that's again, you look at Lovable Replit, like that is happening now, right? So I think the model will eventually become disrupted. And I think you and I
Well, let's go back. I don't think they're willing to pay for what used to be free because what used to be free to get what they want a lot of times involve paying someone to help them,
yeah.
whether it's a full-time employee or a developer or a designer. I know you can do a lot with WordPress for free, but a lot of the people using Lovable, from my understanding, are doing stuff that would have required them to pay an engineer or a designer.
Yeah. I'm looking for that. Okay, so okay, here we go. Here we go. This is what I pulled it up. So Jason Lemkin, WordPress powers 40% of the web. Lovable and Replit are targeting that market and more, but they get to charge you $25 a month and for every token you use. WordPress in its most basic form is free outside of hosting. And your argument is it's not free because you do have to find developers and people to figure it out,
Yeah,
right?
and
Which is
even with the
fair.
plugins and all that kind of stuff, if any business running on WordPress, majority of them that I talk to, when I say majority, I'm talking about like 99 out of 100, pay people to manage their WordPress, to design, create plugins, tweak code, all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, to continue here, much as ChatGPT gets to charge for what Google provides for quote unquote free, Lovable and Replit get to charge for what WordPress provides in many cases for free or very cheap. That adds up to a lot of money very quickly. AI is getting us to pay for a lot of what we used to get for free. For more value, no doubt, but a lot more than what we used to. So like I think your argument is fair. Like I didn't actually think about that. Like you do have to pay developers and people, like you do have to pay for plugins, hosting, and all that stuff. It starts to add up. And there's mental bandwidth to figure that stuff out too.
Dude, we spend for all our WordPress instances throughout our organization, and I don't know how many sites we have. But if I just look at our main 3 websites, I would say we easily spend like 300 plus grand maintaining them per year, easily.
I still think though, even if most people start to move over to Lovable and Replit can ship and deploy these websites, 40% of the web plus pricing, that's a large amount of revenue that's gonna come out.
Yes.
And I do think though, even if you deploy something Lovable Replit, you're still gonna need something to manage. So whether what used to be developers or someone that's actively on the site, I think that's probably gonna be some AI agent doing it. But I also think that's gonna happen for WordPress too.
Yeah.
I think costs will come down for both sides, actually.
Yeah, I think costs will come down for both sides.
Yeah. So like I think our conclusion here is is probably going to lose market share. And it's fine. Things change over time.
Unless they adapt.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen WordPress really adapt.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I think their founder is distracted. So,
I don't know much about what's happening with the founder, but when I look at the overall progress that WordPress has made, I haven't seen really much improvement from Tumblr, that acquisition. Maybe they acquired it for other reasons. They've acquired a few other companies in the last year or 2 years that I read about. I forgot exactly when, but I was looking at some of these acquisitions. I was like, why they even buy them?
yeah.
It was like the same thing. Like we both love HubSpot, but remember the rumor that was going around that Google
Google.
was going to buy HubSpot? And I was like, it doesn't make sense for Google to own HubSpot.
Yeah.
And I don't think that rumor was valid, and I don't have any proof or data on this. I know Dharmesh, but not well. And I don't think that Google's really circling it. It doesn't fit into what they're trying to do. If you look at Google and Facebook, they're trying to paint this story of you don't need agencies and marketers,
Mm.
just use our software and we'll do it all for you.
Yeah.
And then when people don't get the results they're looking for, they turn to agencies.
Yeah. By the way, I'm looking at Grok right now. I'm like, what's going on with Matt Mullenweg, which is the founder, or I think he's still CEO of WordPress. Is he?
I'm pretty sure he's a CEO.
Yeah. So they got in a lawsuit with WP Engine, which is like a hosting.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So WP Engine, by April 2025, a U.S. district court granted WP Engine a preliminary injunction forcing Automatic to restore access and lift discriminatory measures. Because I think WP Engine was going out to market there. I think they're trying to sell, and then I think Automatic, they said Matt Mullenweg said they wanted a piece of it. And they got in this lawsuit, and then I think this stuff is a distraction. And in January 2025, Matt Mullenweg disbanded the WordPress sustainability team. He deactivated WordPress.org accounts of several contributors, including Joost de
Yoast.
Valk. Yeah. Um, and just calls for him to step down have grown, but he's been there, right? So I think a lot of this is distractions versus when you look at Dharmesh, for example, he's always posting to LinkedIn, he's posting to Twitter, sharing new experiments. He's like, he bought agent.com, he bought this domain over here, he sold
Yeah.
this domain. He's always trying new things. And I think that's always a good signal of whether a company is kind of on top of it or not. Versus like for him, it's more he's either not posting or you see it like it's like lawsuit related stuff.
Yes, and Dharmesh, a lot of the content that he's posting is even new features and news related to OpenAI and ChatGPT and stuff that they're doing. But what's interesting there is I think he'll make a killing
The
from
OpenAI shares.
OpenAI shares.
Yeah.
I don't know what his net worth is, and I'm not here to try to predict, but I'm guessing he may make more from that
Yep.
than he did from all of HubSpot.
Dude, imagine getting 15, $20 million or whatever, just all in OpenAI stock. And this was like a year or two ago because he was selling a chat.com. I think he sold it to
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT. So you figure $15, $20 million for that, right? Let's call it 15.
I'm assuming he got a good deal for him, and it's probably worth hundreds of millions easily
Yep.
based on their latest valuation. It'll probably go to $1 trillion+ company.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing with HubSpot, he's done an amazing job building a great company. Him and Brian Halligan. I don't know the lady who's the CEO right now, but when you look at
He's Indian.
she's Indian, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at HubSpot, they built an amazing company that's roughly worth $30 billion. I'm looking at their stock symbol right now live. It's like 29.34 billion, which is amazing and very
Do you
hard to
still own
do.
any?
Do I what?
Do you still own any HubSpot?
No comment. So, and then what you end up seeing with this company is it was not only hard to build this big of an organization, but what people don't always realize is Brian and Dharmesh, to build this kind of organization, had to pump in a lot of cash. So they had to take in tons of investor money over the years. And when I say tons of investor money, I'm not talking about like the amounts that like the Ubers or the Chat GPTs raise, because the time when they created their startup, which is similar times to when I was, getting started and raising capital, people didn't raise as much money. It's like if you raise like $100 million, you typically would go public, not in one round, in total, right? And I don't know exactly how much HubSpot raised, but I don't think it was that much. I don't think it could be more than a few $100 million before they went public. But it took a lot of capital to build the company that they did, and it's actually worked out quite well.
Here's the problem with most marketing agencies. They don't understand what is happening with the world of AI. With my agency, Single Grain, we think about agentic workflows. We think about creating agents for the future. When we think about SEO, we think about creating different products, such as internal linking products or content consolidation products. And on the other side of things, we think about building products such as Care. We just think about making marketing easier overall. If you want to stay at the cutting edge of marketing and at the same time leverage the power of AI, go to singlegrain.com and we'll see you on the other side. Dude. Speaking of trillion, because you just said the word trillion, if you think about Elon versus Zuck, Elon is spending $1 billion on compute versus Zuck is spending $1 billion on humans, because Zuck is poaching all these people from like OpenAI or
Yeah.
whatever, right? These top AI researchers. Whereas Elon, did you see the new Colossus? He's good, like Colossus 2 that he's going to build. It's like an order of a magnitude bigger than all of the other kind of data centers combined.
And he'll do it faster too, I bet.
Yeah. And then but it's like he's betting more on compute. He thinks that that's real intelligence, right? Versus Zuck betting on humans. Now, who knows which one's right or wrong? This is just another reinforcement that there's no right or wrong way to do business. But it's so you got to have guts to make either of these bets, and these guys
Yes.
aren't afraid to do it. It's funny because you see Zuck over here with a Thanos. So these Infinity Stones over here are basically AI researchers.
So that's all the ones he's been taking.
Yep, yep. And you know what's funny?
And he's paying me each like $100 million or something like that.
What's funny is they're all Asian and Indian people.
Are they really?
Yeah, that's so funny.
The one thing to keep in mind with Elon, and I was talking to my brother-in-law Heathen about this yesterday night. What I admire about him as an entrepreneur, forget his views and what you think about that, right? If you just look at it from like an entrepreneur standpoint, like he has a diner here. I don't know if you've been to it.
Yeah, I want to go.
But
There's
the
one in
lines,
Hollywood.
the lines have been ridiculously long, and sometimes it takes hours and hours just to get in.
Yeah.
But if you look at what he tends to do as an entrepreneur, he tends not to do what the status quo is. And a great example of this is when everyone's talking about software and AI, he's building that. But for years, he's been building actual robots that can do stuff, not just fill up popcorn in the diner, but actually clean your house or live in your daily life. If you look at what he did with Tesla, you already know my opinion on the Tesla car. I don't think it's a great car.
I love the car.
I hate the car. I think the seats are crap, and he won't put in more parts because he doesn't want to make the manufacturing more complex. But I'll give him credit for two amazing things that Tesla has done with the cars. The first is I think they have some of the best technology. And I think they're going to end up being a technology company that's licensing out that technology to all the other car companies over time, especially with like things like self-driving. The second thing that he did is he pretty much owns all the gas stations for electric. He has the infrastructure. Yep. You want to charge your electric car. It doesn't matter if it's a Chinese one or a German one or a US one. You're probably using the Tesla network in Europe and in America and probably in LATAM as well.
You know what's interesting too? So this retreat, so 3 people drove there. All 3 people had electric cars. None of them were Teslas. One was an Audi. Actually, 2 were Audis, and then there was my car, right? But when I used to have a Tesla, it was so easy to charge everywhere, and it's fast charging everywhere, right?
No, it's still charged fast for Porsche. Porsche is compatible with their networks.
Yeah, but no, I've tried charging it in those networks. You have to find specific places. Like they're only opening up specific ones. Not every charging station is open to like a outsider car like mine.
But eventually, I believe he'll change it.
He said that years ago, but he's still not active. Yeah.
Yeah, but and he'll make more money from it. He'll juice the revenue from it. I think that's
I think the most impressive thing about Elon is not even just the tech, it's more so the manufacturing stuff, right? Like you look at how quickly he's built these Colossus centers but you look at the factories he's built for Tesla,
yeah.
he's actually proudest of that. And I actually think that's harder. I I don't I think that it would take me years and years and years to learn that. And the same thing for you too. And I still don't even think we've
Yeah, I
figured it
don't know
out.
if I could actually
I don't
learn
think
it.
we'd figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, I look at, like, what he did with SpaceX is revolutionary.
Hmm.
I think of what he's doing, not with Grok, but with the humanoids or whatever he wants to end up calling it, that'll end up being
The
revolutionary, right?
robots. Yeah.
Yeah. He ends up focusing on stuff that is innovative and really, really hard to do.
He just wants to make humanity better, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with, like, Neuralink.
Yeah.
If you look at what he's doing as an entrepreneur, I don't think and I'm not saying Zuck's done a terrible job. I don't think it's challenging to pay people a lot of money. I think it's challenging to do stuff that no one else has done.
I just wish before, Elon does the next thing or whatever, someone releases a book on how he works because that is worth studying for everybody in the world. You get what I mean? To
Yes.
work on so many different things and play Diablo and have 12 kids, like how does it work? And that is worth like I wish one of the biographers revealed that.
Yeah, but if you look at his company versus the competitors, like if you look at Facebook, what Facebook's done really well is M&A.
Yeah.
Microsoft has done M&A really well. Look at GitHub. What they bought GitHub for, I believe it has roughly that much now in revenue annually or something like that. It was crazy the numbers I saw. Look at YouTube. They bought YouTube for what, 1 point something billion?
What 1 billion.
And it did what, almost 10 billion in revenue last quarter?
I think more it does more revenue than Netflix.
Yeah, so it's like if you look at Google, they've done extremely well from M&A, so has Microsoft, so has Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. I know people talk about like, oh, WhatsApp, they haven't monetized yet. The user base,
Mhm.
the amount of people that use
It's
WhatsApp
insane.
is ridiculous, the
Yeah.
majority of the world. Um, but if you look at Elon, what has he done well from an M&A standpoint?
Solar City,
Exactly. It's
cousin's
like,
company.
all
Yeah.
right, like what he's done well is not M&A. What he's done well is build.
He likes doing things the hard way, it seems.
Yeah.
It's always the hard way, maximum difficult. I mean, even when he plays Diablo, like I mentioned last time, Diablo 4, he plays on hardcore mode, which means if you die, you lose it all. And I
Yes.
think that's how he plays life too. Like
Yeah.
like, you might as well just go for it all. Yeah. So, anyway, you guys can choose how to do it. You pay one person 1,000,000,000 or buy, 1,000,000,000 more compute. That's how you play it.
Yeah. But what personality are you? I'm more of a buy it than build it.
I don't I think I'm more of a build it kinda guy, but also, it's interesting because Single Grain was an acquisition, right?
Mhm.
Um, I think had I just been involved with the other 2 acquisitions, I think they would have worked out anyway, but, I don't think I'm, like, against either, but I do like building stuff from scratch, so
I would say when it comes to software or like SaaS, I prefer building. I don't prefer buying. I've bought a few, but I just tear apart the product and I'm just buying it for its traffic or its brand. I'm
yeah.
not really buying it for
Super
the
suggest.
tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with Answer the Public. Um, So I prefer building when it comes to SaaS.
Mhm.
I tend to buy when it comes to service-based businesses, but I don't understand service-based businesses as well as I understand software.
Yeah. So I think it just depends. There's no right answer here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a
I
right
think
answer.
because of my experiences, I have PTSD because I know humans are so we're all different, right? And you add a lot of complexities each time you buy. But you have a good integration team for that. I think I do believe the future is going to be smaller teams, and so I'm a little gun shy on looking at anything to buy right now. So that's where I sit. Um,
Dude, randomly, you wanna see a change I made with my team on the homepage?
what?
I forgot what they had it. I think it was something like, "Digital marketing agencies believe Google and Meta own the attention, but LLMs is proving otherwise,"
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
had something like that, and the call to action was like, something like, "Let us help you be found everywhere." And I changed it. It took iterations. I was just texting my team yesterday, and we were just doing it on the fly.
Yeah.
Took 4 iterations of it, and they all
Search
got
is
published.
everywhere. I like it. Yeah, there you
And
go.
then I put marketers believe. I was like, why do we have digital marketing agencies? Like, oh, we get good traffic from that keyword. I'm like, we already have it on some of the other slides, so we removed that from the homepage. I'm like, just put marketers because we're not pitching to digital marketers, and they know that. Or I mean, we're not pitching to agencies,
Yeah.
and they know that. And I was just like, marketers believe Google and Meta own attention, and I changed LLMs to Chat GPT
Mhm.
because when we talk to most companies, like even when I was in Hong Kong and
Mhm,
ChatGPT is banned unless you use a VPN, it's not really banned, but ChatGPT is not available there,
mhm.
and they all use VPNs to access it.
Yeah.
No one talks about LLMs. No one talks about Grok. No one talks about Perplexity. They just assume everything is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we should just nail it head on and just focus our messaging purely around ChatGPT.
Yep.
And yes, we can do Perplexity and all the other ones, but ChatGPT is what everyone's talking about. So we should just focus on
That's
that.
what we call the first mover advantage. Typically, first mover, if you have a good product and you're known as the brand in the space, you're gonna get the attention. And you know what's interesting? I was looking at our traffic stats, just website traffic, and whenever we talk about like AIO or ChatGPT optimization or like any of these LLMO or whatever, it's always 5 to 10 times more traffic than anything else that we publish right now. So I'm just like, guys, why don't we just keep doing that? Like, forget all
Uh-huh.
the other stuff, right?
Same with social content.
Yeah, just forget about it. Oh, and by the way, I was reading something. A bunch of SEOs were complaining again. Ha ha ha, right? They're complaining again on X. Um,
About?
they were complaining about how traditional SEO is dying, but there was a silver lining to it. The silver lining is they've never been busier than ever right now. So we have some mutual friends, maybe some mutual enemies as well in there, and they were just saying that they've never been busier because when things get tough with traditional SEO, people are like, they want to get that traffic back. They want the same thing back. And it's no different than this SaaS founders retreat I was at, where everyone wants to get their traffic back. I'm like, guys, like it's on its way down. Don't abandon it, but it's a sunk cost thing where you don't just don't. It's okay if you spent money on it. It's time to move on,
Yes, when Eric says move on though, because I think a lot of people are gonna
not throw it
take this in
away.
a wrong
Yeah.
context. He's not saying SEO is dead. He's not saying Google is dead. He's saying that you need to adapt with the platforms and you need to be there when people ask questions to Google in AI mode or whether it's in the AI overviews. But also you need to be there whether it's Perplexity, Grok, or ChatGPT, not just for bottom of funnel, but also top of funnel, middle of funnel, and you need to adapt.
Yep.
What he's saying is throw away your mindset of, oh, I spent all this money on traditional SEO and I'm losing traffic. What Eric is specifically saying is that's fine. A lot of those factors are very relevant to optimizing for AI and LLMs.
Mhm.
Adapt with it. Don't fight and go against the grain.
And we talk about search everywhere optimization. It's a term you coined, but it's more so you need citations everywhere. So I had that group, that SaaS group. I was like, hey guys, just go to ChatGPT right now, search for what's the best marketing podcast. 7 out of 8 people, marketing school was at least number 2, if not higher, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what's the reason for that? It's because we're cited on YouTube. We've been publishing. We're over 3,000 episodes on marketing school. I don't know if you know that.
Wow.
Yeah. You publish all the time on your YouTube. I publish all the time on YouTube. We're publishing on Twitter. We're everywhere, right? It's not just links anymore. And you actually published something on X today. I don't even know if you know this. You scheduled something. Um,
Yeah. I was like,
but
I
yeah,
don't know what I
but
put up on
basically, it
X.
does talk about how, like, yeah, you need to have like some type of brand reputation. There's sentimentality around your brand as
Oh, yeah,
well.
we did one on how ChatGPT evaluates brand
Yeah.
mentions
So
today.
why don't you talk about that? Because I think this is related to this.
Yeah, so I had a post on a data post that my team ended up creating. I can't see the footnote. Oh, there you go. I can see the footnote in it. So I looked at over 100 sites in 14 different verticals to see why ChatGPT recommends certain brands more than others, and we wanted to really look at brand mentions. And we looked at domain authority. It doesn't really have too much of an impact on ChatGPT. So if you get mentioned on a high domain authority versus low domain authority, not too much. Context, like what is the context of that you're being mentioned in? That has a high score. The thoroughness, if someone just says like, oh, NP digital or single grain is good, but without being super thorough and giving reasons why, the thoroughness does matter. Age, the age of the business and the more people mentioning you over time, that's helped. Quantity was another one that was really high. Um, Relevance of the site, a little bit lower, that was medium-ish. And I think that's gonna change over time. Sentiment had a high rating as well. Is what they're saying about your company positive or negative? So if you had to pick the main factors, you wanna focus on context, thoroughness, quantity, so a lot of these brand mentions, and sentiment, they wanna be positive. Those are the 4 main factors to focus on when it comes to brand mentions to get ChatGPT to cite you more often.
Yep. So again, it's not just based on like links still matter, but like you look at the internet now. If you're an LLM, you're crawling a bunch of different things. You're multimodal, and you want to try to be in as many places as possible. And by the way, A lot of the stuff now is just republishing. You're
Yeah.
republishing short form content. And when I think about SEO now, when our blog posts, we're more aggressive now with the transactional, bottom of funnel content like programmatic SEO, right? Because we're just like, why not go for it? Why not have more shots on goal? It's no different than organic short form. Why not have more shots on goal? So I was kind of lighting into my brand team yesterday because I pulled up Opus. So our 80-minute conversation, there's actually a lot more moments that we miss that my team doesn't publish, right? Whether it's you say something interesting or I'm like, some of these are actually good and some of them are like duds. They're not that good. But then when I look at the ones that we manually choose sometimes, I'm like, that's not even a good moment. Like, why is that even being published to Instagram, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be something that you're willing to share with your friends or share with your mom or something like that. And so why would you not use something like an Opus or like an Overlap or something like that? Anyway, I did ask again, what's the best marketing pod to Grok? Uh, we're number two again. I don't know why we're constantly number two.
Who's number one?
Amy
Amy
Porterfield.
Porterfield?
Yeah, you see,
Yeah,
you knew
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, but
She has a good podcast.
okay, who do you think is number one for ChatGPT?
Amy Porterfield.
No, marketing over coffee. And I don't know why this
I
was
don't
cited.
know whose
Yeah, I've
podcast
never heard
that
of
is.
this one. John Wall and Chris Penn. Marketing School with Neil Patel and Eric Sue is number two. Gary V Audio Experience is number three. But Gary's constantly still everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and then I searched for it on Claude too. But
How's he adapting to the AI role? I don't hear much about him and
So
AI
you
stuff.
know what's interesting? I look at his YouTube channel from time to time, and all of his content. You know how they've repurposed him speaking, right?
Yeah.
It's always there. Social media is in there, or AI is in there. So I think he's trying to capitalize on driving social media or AI traffic to drive more leads for his business. That's what I think.
So he is talking about AI.
Yeah, he is basically like if you're not using AI, you're screwed. And then he has to talk about VFriends a little bit too because he's pumping that. But I think he's mostly focused on his business now.
Yeah. Good for him. He's also had quite a few exits. People don't realize that about Gary. They look at him as a social media
He's a great
personality.
operator,
He's
I
an
think.
amazing operator, and he's done very well building companies and flipping them for a lot of money. And I wouldn't say flip because it sounds bad, but more so building them and exiting them to a strategic buyer like American Express or whoever it may be. And
Resi, yeah.
yeah,
You know,
people don't talk about that.
I think he's very good with people too, right? He has I have a guy that used to work at Single Grain Raghav that works, and I talk to Raghav all the time, and he's worked there for a long time. So he treats you like once you're in with him, he treats you really well. But what I noticed, and like it's not like I'm close to Gary or anything, but he'll message me every now and then, say, "Hey, just hope everything is well," like on
Mm.
Instagram, right? And I think that level, I know a couple people from like my high school that do that just to check in. That goes a long way. I don't do that personally. I should do it more, but I'm just not like that. But on Claude, who do you think is number one?
We are.
Yes. Why do you think that?
I just guessed because
Okay.
the way you asked, I was
The
like,
way I asked. Okay, fine,
yeah, I
fine.
was like, probably us.
Gary V is number two though, and then number three is like call to action from Unbounce. But we're constantly number one or two. Why is that? The only solution, the thing that makes sense to me is we're cited in a lot of different places.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
For a long, long time, many, many years.
yeah, and that is a moat. If you can stay consistent for a very long time, because Gary constantly appears here too, you're gonna have an edge over other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't checked out his social profiles lately, but I didn't realize he's pushing out AI content. I still thought he was pushing out a lot of motivational content and
No,
social
I think he's
content.
locked it in a lot more. Yeah. Okay, so you have one over here. I don't know if you want to cover this one around why partnering can be a better form of marketing.
Yeah. So, on a side note, you're spot on. I was looking at Gary's YouTube channel right now. We're talking. The first video is business playbook. The next one is AI plus content, the only business strategy that still works. The
Yeah.
next one is social plus AI, the new media empire. Yeah, and he's getting some good amount of views on this. Cody Sanchez, nobody's ready for where AI plus live shopping.
Yeah.
Like he's pushing hard on talking about AI, wave 2 and 3 of AI. Yeah, he is.
All right, so I wanted to take a moment to tell you about my podcast co-host Neil's agency called NP Digital, and they work with a whole host of global companies or a global organization. Also, Neil has SEO tools such as Ubersuggest and Answer to Public. All you have to do is go to npdigital.com to learn more, and we'll see you on the other side. Dude, as a side note, how often are you going on podcasts every week right now?
I'm not going on podcasts at all. Other
I
than
think I'm
this
going to
one.
try to jack it up to like one or two per week or so because I want the clips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes, by the way, when it's in person, like that's why he's doing them. He's doing it for the clips too. And so that's my take on it. Yeah.
What I found that's easier is I go to a studio, I record for an hour to 2 hours, And I have enough content for if I record for 2 hours, you have enough content for 2 weeks,
Clips. That's like 1 per day. So 14, you're recording
long
14.
form and short.
How many short forms are you getting out per day?
1.
So yeah, so you're doing 14 in that session.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And 2 long form, but I don't do the short form. I just do the long form, and they take the short
Oh,
form
got it,
from
got it,
the
got it,
long,
got it.
but the script is planned for short forms to be taken out. So instead of, like, using a Opus or be like, "What are the good sound bites?"
Yeah.
Literally, the script is written where we already know what short forms we're creating from that we're pulling out from
Do
that
those
long
do
form.
well for you? Like,
Not as well as me just filming short form
where it's native?
content,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and we do have script for it, I just haven't had time to record.
Yeah.
I'm focusing more on, scaling it out and just doing a long form a week, a short form every day, a chart every day, and we're happy with that frequency,
Yeah. You know what's
and then
funny?
speaking in person at conferences.
You know what's funny? For you, you actually posted something on Twitter the other day about how, like, this is what leads to short form success. A really good hook, a really good story, and, like, something else, right? Like, a couple other things.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I think you know this intuitively too. If you just focus on, like, a native post, it's gonna do a lot better. But, like, I don't think you need to, and you know this too, because on average, your videos are getting anywhere from, like, 15 to 35,000 views or so. That's already plenty good, right?
On YouTube?
On your Instagram Reels.
Uh Yeah, we more so, like, focus on YouTube because
Yeah.
we see more qualified leads from
That's what I'm
YouTube
saying.
than
I
Instagram.
don't think Instagram Reels drive a lot of leads anyway, so there's no need to
Yeah,
like, it's just air coverage, that's the phrase that's used.
bingo.
Yeah,
You're right. We look at it as, like, air coverage, and we need to be
and
on there, but
it's funny, our ratio, like, my usually whatever reel I publish is, like, 1 to 2,000 views on average, and so it's like a follow. I do think Instagram does look at followers a little bit because you have 629,000, I have, like, 100,000.
yeah, it could be. I
Dude,
just more so focus on, I'm like, "Guys, how do we just do better on YouTube and LinkedIn?"
we just ran our first, webinar experiment yesterday where we spent to drive.
Okay?
So I'll share some results. So we use StreamYard, which I got from Neil. We used to use Restream, so we started using StreamYard, and so we stream to my Instagram, we stream to YouTube, LinkedIn, and everything.
And do you like StreamYard?
I do.
It's more reliable from what we find.
I
It
like
doesn't
it,
have as many
but
errors.
I think we're missing some things where, like, you can't, like, I don't think you can do the QR scanning.
Yeah, we do.
You can.
I don't know if we can do, it doesn't show the counter of how many
The
people scan.
reporting's not good, yeah, so that's what I think is missing, so we might use a tool called sequel.io. You can search it up, Sequel,
I'll
like,
check it out.
so they because they might actually do a deal with us, and then maybe you guys can get hooked up for the deal too, but a lot of B2B SaaS companies use SQL, but anyway, StreamYard's great. So we spent $5,000 on this webinar, and we got, 800 registrants,
Okay?
and the high point concurrently was maybe 250 or 275 people. We'll have to take a look, but we did get, it seems we got at least, um, I wanna say at least 10, if not, like, 15 qualified leads from it. These meetings still need to happen though, because this webinar was done yesterday. And then I would say the offer that did well was the ClickFlow offer, which is 25,000 free words, right? That offer did well, but also people signing up for, like, a free AI marketing consultation, which is still a proposal anyway.
Yeah.
That got a few as well. And so, so far we're like, "Oh, that's actually pretty good. Let's start to hit this a little harder." And so $5,000, if we even break even on this one, great, and we'll
Yeah.
just keep running them. But you don't need to spend. Yours is a little different. Yours is, you need 5,000 registrants, and you'll make 400 grand, right? Is that what it is?
No, not 5,000 registrants.
5,000 attendees.
I think it's attendees.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
which is a lot, by the way.
I'm pretty sure it's, like, attendees and not registrants.
Dude, I'm gonna do, you speak to it for a second. I'm gonna do the math on this real quick.
Yeah. But our average when we have a webinar that hits, we typically will get at least 10,000 registrants. I don't know if we've ever hit 15,000, but we can get, like, a solid, like, 10,000 plus registrants.
You know what's funny? Okay, so on the math for this one, because our CPA was 8.5, right? So you
Yeah.
pay $85,000 to do one webinar. Each webinar would typically cost, if Neil had to pay for this, you would pay $85,000 for it.
We would not spend
Yeah.
85,000. That's too much. We tried running ads to webinars.
You did,
We
yeah.
find that, it works out decently well.
But you don't
We
need to.
yeah, we have so much
Yeah.
volume, we're like
Neil has a lot of organic traffic, so it goes to his email list and he just drives it through there, and that
and
works.
then I call the salespeople or some of the people on the sales team, like, "Did you guys go prospect to start looking through all the people registered?" "No, there's too many." I'm like, "Okay, no more budget for paid webinar ads."
Yeah. Which it makes sense for me because my email list is not nearly the size of yours. It's like
Yeah,
minuscule. So, but like this is a great way for me to drive not only email signups but registrants too, and to keep it going because it's like a fun event, right? And then
yeah,
I think we're gonna have guests coming in, so you're welcome to come at any time. But I think having guests come in, making it entertaining and all that, it's a fun thing because I do think people look forward to it too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Webinars are fun.
yeah,
But sometimes, like my team will put me on virtual speeches,
uh huh,
and I appreciate them making the effort. And sometimes, like people will pitch us, we got to get better at this. They're like, "Oh, you're direct audience. We have X amount of community and all this kind of stuff." And then I'll show up, and I'm like, "So this is only 5 people on here," and
oh no,
I'm like, "Oh, cool. There goes an hour." I'm like, "Very bad use of time."
yeah,
And my team's like, "Sorry, didn't know," but, like, sometimes people pitch us and they over exaggerate, Like, I had one of, events I spoke for free in Florida,
uh huh,
and there's like, "We're the largest home service marketing event,"
yeah,
like, "We have big events, like,
yeah.
up to 1,000 people. These are all business
Up
owners."
to 1,000 people, so it could be like one person. This
No,
is
but
up to a
they're
thousand.
just like, they're like usually 600, 700, maybe up to
Uh
1,000.
huh.
But they're just like, that's roughly the size, and it's all your ideal buyer pool. And I speak, and I'm like, there wasn't even like 40, 50 people in the room, and it was all mainly agencies
Oh
and
no.
providers. I was like, cool, great use of time.
Well, I mean, at least you get the clips, right? For content.
We don't even care for the clips from that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
Because we have enough clips and content. Like, what am I gonna do? Start posting 2, 3 times a day for short form clips? I
I think
could.
so. I think so.
We've tried it out. It doesn't get that much more engagement.
I don't know. I just look at it as a slot machine. I want more at bats.
Yeah,
I
that's
want more
true.
at bats because you never know. Like, okay, I could just be talking about a discount. You talk about a discount, 8 million views, and then I might talk about like an Instagram hack, 500,000 views. I'm like, you just never know what's gonna hit.
But typically for me, the posts that hit drive the least amount of customers.
Yeah. But remember I told you I was at this YPO dinner and then 4 people came up to me and said they saw a video, and I was at a conference and 3 people said they saw, like, a short form video.
But did any of them purchase from you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes I'm just saying in that big pool, you might get some of the right people. And sometimes I'll say my cousins at a family event, they're like, "Oh, I saw your video." I was like, "Oh, that sounds good. Makes me feel good." Um,
But no revenue.
no revenue. No revenue.
And this is why you went from doing content that makes you feel good
Yep,
to content that
yep.
produces a
I'm like,
ROI.
I don't need the views anymore. Let's talk about this real quick. Go ahead.
No, no, but let's go back.
Yeah.
Your webinar,
Mhm.
you paid for it
Yeah.
to get people on there.
Yeah.
Generated you revenue?
I think it's gonna generate revenue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will people come up to you and be like, "I saw you on this amazing webinar"?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
What one would you rather have?
I'd rather have the revenue. Like, it's
Exactly.
cool, like, okay, so this is what I wanna talk about. I have a topic here, and then we can move on to one of yours, but the question is, what level of fame is worth it, right? So, I would say, you and um, I would say in the marketing niche, maybe I'm like, a B level star. You're an A level star, okay, let's just call
I
it.
don't know if I'm A-low. I would
I
say
think
that
so. You
I'm
you
B.
get noticed a lot, right? When I go to a conference or you go to a conference, we get noticed and people ask for pictures and things like that. Like it's nice. It's a nice dopamine hit to get noticed at a conference, right? And say hi. Like I'm very grateful for that, right? Now, but the question is, if you're super famous, you get noticed all the time. Like if you're like Logan Paul or something like that, it
Yeah.
starts to become a nuisance, right? So the question is, what level of fame is worth it?
So I would consider in the marketing world or business world, Gary Vee would
Gary
be
Vee,
like a
yes,
A.
yes.
Okay. Uh, I'm not
You're
on the
A for
same.
sure.
No, I wouldn't say I'm A. Okay, but let's just go with
I've
Gary Vee.
I've ChatGPT this before. I said,
Okay.
who are the top?
Okay. So let's go with Gary Vee being an A, right?
Uh-huh.
The amount of times he must get hit up when he walks down the street
Mhm.
must be irritating.
For sure.
Okay. So Mike and I were discussing this, I don't know how many more months ago. And he's like, dude, one day, he's just like, would we ever, sell the business if we have a right offer? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we don't really discuss it, but he's like, do you know what would be amazing for you if you ever sold 100% of the business? He's like, not a portion, but 100%. And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "How stoked would you be that you would never have to create content again or post on social media?" I'm like, "Dude,
1,000% stoked.
1,000%." He's like, "No one would, know who you are, you would fade away." And I'm like, "This would be so amazing."
Yeah.
And I would be ecstatic with that.
You do get noticed on the street.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and I would say at a conference you get noticed more and then you get stopped. And then sometimes we talk about because we'd be walking and you start to get irritated over a period of time because it's too much, right? And you're grateful for it,
I
but
I
it becomes a
I'm
lot.
very grateful for people. Without them, I wouldn't have the business.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not actually the conference part doesn't irritate me. What irritates me, and I'm still really grateful, is, like, I take my kids to play place and, get 2, 3 people hounding me, and I appreciate them, but then my kids get pissed off that I'm distracted instead of me spending time with them.
Mhm.
That's for me, um, where it starts getting a little irritating. Conferences and stuff like that, I don't mind at all. When people wanna ask questions, I'm happy to answer as many questions as possible. The only part where it gets irritating for me at a conference is if I have to be on stage at a specific time and I tell someone that and they still wanna talk to me and I can't actually be late when I'm going on stage
Yeah.
and I had to tell them that, "Hey, I can answer after," or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, no, 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 this is really quick." That part, like, I get it, they want their feedback, but, like, I also contractually cannot miss going on stage at the time that I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be there.
Yeah. I see that.
So I have to say no, and I feel like a prick, and then I'm like, "Man, I wish they would just some people would understand that I have to go on stage," but I'm like and I'll give them my phone number, email, I'm like,
Mhm.
gladly willing to get on the phone or whatnot, and I did that at, Web Summit. I was at Web Summit in Toronto, and I had to leave, not 'cause on stage, but I had to leave to go to the airport, right? And this guy was like, "Huge fan, I just have some questions." I'm like, "Dude, I hate to do this. I changed my flight right then and there to
Mhm.
get an earlier flight because, some of my interviews, one of my interviews bailed on me. So I was like, wait, there's an earlier flight. Let me just switch everything up." And then, my team's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to go economy." I'm like, "Who gives a crap? I'm flying from Toronto to SF. It's
Yeah.
like a 2-hour flight." I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't care if I'm in the middle seat. Just
Yeah.
get me there sooner
Yeah.
so I can hang out with my sister
Yeah. Yeah.
and my niece and nephew. I haven't seen them in a while, right?" I'm like, "Why wait 3 extra hours?"
Yeah.
And the guy really wanted to pick my brain, and I'm like, "What's your phone number?" So then when I was in the taxi cab or Uber getting to the airport, I gave him a ring. He didn't answer.
Mm.
And then I texted him, and then he's like, "Oh, I didn't know it was you." I gave him a ring. He's like, "Oh, I'm busy now. Can I call you back in like an
Oh,
hour?"
no, 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 no,
No, no,
no.
I picked up the phone with him in an hour because I
Yeah.
was at the airport. I
Yeah.
answered all his questions,
Yeah.
and then I gave him some action items on what he should do, and I told him, "Once you do it, follow up, and they'll give me next steps." Although he never followed up with me
That's what I'm
after taking
saying.
the
The
action items.
way the way he should have jumped at the opportunity to take the call with you if he was such a big fan, and then it didn't
No,
seem
but
like he was serious about taking action.
oh, yeah, he didn't take
That's
action,
what I
but I
mean.
told him, "Once you take action,
Yeah.
just give
But
me another call back."
But going back to this, okay, so the level of fame, like, it's cool. You know what's cool? When I'm, like, in lot like, getting on a plane and the guy at the gate recognize, "Oh, are you Eric Sue?" or whatever, or maybe, like, I'm walking with Sayed, because Sayed flew over, we're at a coffee shop, and this guy's, like, this huge guy, right? He's like, "Sup, Eric?" And I'm like, "Hey." I didn't know what to say, right? But, like, that's fun, right, to get noticed, like, with your friends or whatever. But I think for you, because I actually was talking to a friend yesterday or the day before, because you mentioned that your brand caps out at $10 million, right?
Yeah.
But so the argument is actually your brand probably does more than that. That's intangible because the thing is when you go when people like are you're trying to recruit people, people know who Neil Patel is, right? It does help from a recruiting standpoint.
Or it hurts
Yeah.
because some people hate me.
Okay, but yeah,
Remember at the
yeah.
last event, someone said I murder people?
Yeah, but okay, so you can be polarizing, but some people really love you,
Yeah,
some people might really hate you, right? You agree,
yeah.
right? So, but you've also said before that, okay, if it helps you recruit people, a lot of these people bring clients and they bring people with them too. So it's this thing that stacks, right? And
Yeah.
then it also does help you, like, sure, some companies don't, but at least you get thrown into RFPs, right? So I do think from a
No,
measurable
my
standpoint,
personal brand does not help us with RFPs.
but it helps with recruiting.
It helped in the early days. It doesn't help really at all
So
anymore.
a lot of people that join don't know who you are.
Uh, a lot of the people who join don't care who I am because they're executives and they're seasoned from other agencies.
Yeah.
Because in the world of AI, you need, as you know this, less grunt workers, more high level talent. They really care about who they're working with, who they're reporting to, knowing them for many years, and
For sure.
comp.
But if they like a Gary Vee or if they like a Neil Patel, for
It
example, it
helps.
definitely helps, right? And
Yes.
so I think the measurable piece is for sure at least 10 million, but I think there's probably
Yeah.
a little more than that.
Uh, 10 million definitely measurable. There's probably a lot more that's measurable if we accepted the revenue.
Mm,
So, like, I don't take most speaking gigs, and I don't care how much they'll have to, pay, I just turn them down,
mhm.
unless we think it's a good fit for not just our brand, but for also potential customers. We also turn down, brand promotion deals, like, where I'll be evangelist for a company or take shares in a company, or
You still
give
do that?
advice. No, I turn it
Yeah,
all down or, like, pay
yeah.
post on social media and get paid, don't care for it. So, when you look at or, like, book deals, I turn down pretty much all people who hit me up for book
I
deals.
think you have scar tissue from that.
Yeah, I don't even respond to them.
Yeah.
And, like, I can go get, like, a half a million bucks in advance, maybe more,
It's
but
not worth it. You make way more from your business. But I do think my main point is at least $10 million is measurable, but I do think you have
yeah.
some intangibles that's a little bigger than 10 million.
Yes, but I think where you and I are different on the branding side is, I've been doing this longer for you.
Than
So
me. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
so then I've been used to for so many years of people saying hi, hello, and wanting pictures,
Mhm.
where for you, you've been having this for years as well, but it's been getting bigger and bigger. Like I texted you the other day when I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
at
yeah.
that hotel in San Diego,
Yeah.
and the person's like, he's like, "You're Neil Patel, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's just like, "I know you." He's like, "You're Eric's friend." I'm like, "I follow Eric and I've seen his ads
Oh,
and
that's so
content
funny.
everywhere."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Eric and I are really close friends."
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "Cool." He's like, "Dude, I'm gonna pull up your car and just park it out front and just leave it here. I've learned so much from Eric.
Yeah,
Just
that's
want to show my
awesome.
appreciation." And I told you, I tipped him well. I was really stoked because
Thank you
I'm
for
like,
tipping him.
"Huh?"
Thank you for tipping him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was like, I was stoked. I was like, "Cool."
yeah.
And then I was like, because he's like, "Are you leaving now?" I'm like, "No, my kids are making some bracelet thing because they had, like, some activity." And he's like, "Dude, just leave everything here. I'll load the car. I'll just leave it out front, take as long as you want." And I know if he didn't leave it out front, I would have to wait, like, extra
Yeah.
5, 10 minutes. And going from San Diego to LA around 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
you're gonna get traffic coming back.
It would take you forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was already our 2-hour car ride turned into a 3-hour car ride because of traffic.
Was this the Odyssey?
No, the, Bentley.
Okay, got it.
So, but he was just really nice. I tend to drive the Odyssey. It is my favorite car.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because I was at, where was that place? I took my kids this week. They don't have school or summer school.
Legoland?
No,
SeaWorld?
well, that was in San Diego, but yesterday I took him to Century City.
Oh, the mall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I took my wife's car because my car doesn't have two car seats in there.
Yeah,
One of the car seats broke, so we're waiting for another one.
yeah.
That hence we didn't take it to San Diego. So then going to Century City, the guy's like, "You got a really nice car." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. They're like, this is my car. This is my wife's car." He's like, "If this is your wife's car, I can't imagine what your car is." He's like, "You got a Bugatti?"
I have an Odyssey.
And I'm like, "Guess again." So then he's like, "Ferrari?" I'm like, "Nope, Honda Odyssey." And he's just like, wise man.
That's the one.
And then I told my wife this story, and he's like, "You're making me look bad. He's gonna think that like I just spent all this money." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Well, if he assumes that, he assumes that." Because the only reason my wife has this car is because I got it for her. She can get it on her own as well. But the first Bentley I got her was a Christmas gift, and it stayed in the garage for 2 weeks before she even drove it. And the first thing she said is, "Why'd you get me a car? My existing car is only like 4 years old. It still works."
Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of cars. I don't know why you have a lot of
No,
cars.
I only have 2 cars.
You used to have a lot of
I
cars.
have a
I
lot of
that
cars.
that never yeah.
I've sold most of the cars
And it
at this
wasn't even
point.
like you're a car person. But okay, but going back to this, as we talk through this level of fame thing real quick, well, I think my conclusion here is the level of fame is worth it if it helps you recruit amazing people.
Yes.
That's what ultimately by the way, as I've gone to the Bill Gates section of the $500 book that I was talking about, Bill Gates is like, we just got really lucky with people. Everything is about just people,
Yeah,
people and
he had
products.
an amazing team.
Amazing. And he's like, I just got like he's like when he's interviewed, he's already super like billionaire already in the mid 90s. He's like, I still work 12 to 15 hours a day, but without my people, I would be nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree, like, Mark Zuckerberg trying to poach these AI
All
specialists,
people.
uh, I believe he himself is making the effort to recruit these people and
He's
is
calling
working.
them. It's dude, these are like you'd read about NBA level contracts all the
Yeah.
time, but these are like $300 million deals, $1 billion deals, and people still wouldn't join.
Yes, and I think the Zuck style of doing business is more my style than Elon.
Yeah.
I think Elon version is much harder, but I'm big on if I look at my business and why I've done well, it's all
I
people and
think you like
systems
deal
and
making.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, you like deal making. You're similar to the you know, we have another person in the country that likes deal making.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm more if I had to pick my entrepreneur type, I'm more of a private equity guy
Mhm.
than a creator.
Yeah. You're a deal maker, and who else likes doing deals?
Are you talking about the president?
Yes, the president likes doing deals, right? But that personality, I'm not saying you guys are the same people, but, like,
Yes.
they like pushing to get deals done, right? Versus I think Elon, I don't think that's in his personality. Like, he likes like,
No.
he's just like, "I'm just gonna do it." So, yeah. Anyway, you have this one over here, which I think is interesting, on why partner marketing can be a better form of marketing. Because I was just thinking about this. We're both speaking at HubSpot's inbound, right? I'm like, "Huh, for Carrot, I wanna talk to more of these integration partners at HubSpot's inbound." So I'm like, I'm gonna set up a dinner, right? So
Yeah, so dude, I got this idea from our last recording session. It was either the last one or the one before. And we're talking about getting customers from these LLMs.
uh-huh.
And I was telling you, you're like, yeah, you're seeing it too, but we're talking about two different things. I was talking about people working at like a Perplexity recommending our agency. You're talking about getting mentioned in like a Chat GPT or Perplexity when someone's doing a search,
Mhm,
and then Chat GPT recommending you through their website, not actually an employee referring you. And then you were talking about, we were talking about Scrunch, Profound, and others, and I was like, "Let me hit some of these guys up." So I started emailing the founders of these solutions, and I was like, "I should find one and just partner with them."
yeah,
Because even though we ourselves have been developing AI products, and we've been doing AI products since I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, 3 max. I don't know when we first came out with our AI writer. I know February of 2025, we had a big meeting in Brazil, and we were discussing all the AI stuff that we were creating, including, like, tracking on LLMs and stuff like
mhm,
that. And just because we have some of these features our product isn't based on a Profound or a Scrunch or a lot of these other solutions. We're basing it off of what our customers want, and it's a very different customer segment. I'm assuming you agree with this,
mhm,
right? What we're doing with UberSess and Answer the Public, you've seen some of the designs. We're not trying to do what they do. We're trying to help a SMB and a roadmap. I don't know what their roadmap is. Um, and I don't even have like a login myself to Scrunch or Profound or any of those solutions. I don't think our dev team does it either. But more so, we're building stuff for how can we help SMB from soup to nuts, not just learn what's happening on the LLMs, and all the channels out there because we're big on the search everywhere optimization, like you and I have talked about with
mhm,
YouTube traditional,
yep,
but also help them execute and actually get results in a way that's as automated as possible. And a small chunk, a fraction of a percent, but our user base is high. I think we have over 5 million users on our software tools, will be a ideal user for a Scrunch or Profound or someone like that. I was like, wait, we should partner with them and send them revenue. And we should try to work with them and get revenue from their end. And I was
yeah.
like, why not?
So how many deals have you done?
I have calls set up this week and next week.
Yeah, see? See, sometimes when you talk about this stuff, idea babies spawn.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
And I was like, let me just email. And I just start Googling
yeah,
these people's email addresses like
yeah.
at 9 o'clock at night while I'm in bed. And I'm just shooting off
Dude,
emails.
you know what I do now? So I run Perplexity Labs, which does 9-minute research. I was like, tell me who are all the people Carrot should partner up with at HubSpot. And then
Oh,
find me the contact information too. And then you could probably set it up with ChatGPT agents now where it'll find the contacts and then it's connected with your Gmail because you can do the connection, right? And you can email these people and just set it up and just do like a private dinner because I'm gonna arrive on the 2nd and then stay there till the 6th.
yeah.
So yeah,
I like that.
yeah. So and that's the move too. I'm gonna throw dinner. Neil will probably be there. I usually throw dinners when I speak at HubSpot, so that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
I don't know
So
if I'll be there at a dinner. I'll probably be spending time with my niece and nephew.
oh, that's right, because this time it's local for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, local-ish. Yeah,
Localish.
yeah. Alright.
Yeah, my team's like, "How long do you want there?" And they'll be like, "What do you wanna do with the hotel?" I'm like, "None."
You're usually in and out, yeah. So you're just gonna arrive. Are you packing all your speaking into one day and just going to
I'm trying to and then spend more time at my, sister's place.
got it, cool. So maybe, guys, maybe dinner. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, pick the next
Eric will
one.
still do a dinner, though.
I will for sure do a dinner. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm bad with the dinners, even at the Miami event. You're like, "Do you wanna come?" Just leave to the airport for that. I'm like, "It's okay."
yeah, yeah. Your dinners aren't your thing. So yeah,
No.
yeah. Alright, pick one. We got 2
Uh,
more to do.
alright, let's talk about,
Oh, can we okay, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
you pick.
Go for it.
Okay. So, I mean, this one's interesting. So, here's the quote, and I don't think you're gonna agree with this. "If you're not spending 90% of your time teaching, you're not doing your job." Do you know who this quote comes from? Comes from Jim Senegal, the founder of Costco, and also Leonardo DiVecchio, who is the Luxottica founder.
Let's look at Exotica.
Luxottica owns, like, Ray-Ban and all these companies. So,
Ah, cool.
Mark Zuckerberg paid $3 billion, I think, for 3% or maybe $1 billion, something like that, to buy he's passed away since, but like phenomenal with M&A. He bought all the glasses companies like and based in Italy, and then Jim Senegal, Costco, obviously huge, right? So again, they're both. If you're not spending 90% of your time teaching, you're not doing your job. So they're very hands-on, very involved, and they're teaching people how to do things in their organization. So I thought it was an interesting quote.
Yeah, I don't know if that's right. I know a lot of people, like, if you actually look at, like, Mark Zuckerberg, they say he himself, like, will actually just do work and focuses on, not just operating, but actually doing. And then you have different management styles. Like, if you look at Elon, he gets his hands dirty instead of teaching. I think he's just going in there and actually doing it himself. Does it mean that Jim from Costco or the founder of Costco or Elon or Mark or, Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates is right or wrong? I think it goes back to what we discussed earlier when you're meeting up with these SaaS companies. There's many ways to get the same outcome, and people just have to choose what's right for them. And even though, like, you and I teach, I don't think we spend 90% of our time teaching. It may look that way from the content that we push out, and that's helped us build an audience, but I think we spend majority of our time doing.
I think also to your point about people having different ways of being successful in business, there's also different ways of teaching too. Sometimes
Yeah.
you do things and then I more often than not now will record a lot of the stuff and then just teach by doing sometimes. Sometimes I'll just get on a call with someone, I'll screen record with them. Um because I want to pass the knowledge on because that's much more scalable. And so in my mind, what do I enjoy doing? Because people ask me, it's like, what are my life goals? I just love learning, I love doing, and I love teaching, right? And that's like a self reinforcing thing. So I think people can have different definitions, and I don't even know if Jim and Leonardo DiVecchio are talking about the same thing here, but they both kind of ascribe to like just ultimately, I think what it comes down to is being involved and you're teaching in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you're doing,
Yeah.
maybe you're actually mentoring someone, but I do think maybe this comes down to involvement.
Yes, and that's why when at my organization, it doesn't matter if it's a CMO or anyone in marketing or any division, even sales, I expect people to be a player coach,
Mhm.
especially executives.
Yep.
You not only have to go and do work yourself, but you gotta teach others and level them up and get them to perform better.
Yep. All right. Have you seen that this one business podcast charges $450,000 per episode?
So you can't listen to a episode for free.
Sorry, sponsorships cost $450,000 to sponsor this podcast.
I've never heard of that kind of sponsorship unless because you said business podcast, unless it would be like a Joe Rogan or
Yeah.
something like that.
So click on the link. It's row 5754 here. I'm pulling it up right now, but this is the acquired podcast. So I'm looking at their media kit right now. And basically when you look at the founders, this audience, it is y- they have mostly entrepreneurs that listen to it, mostly CEOs, mostly entrepreneurs that listen to this, right? And you have the CEO of LinkedIn, COO said, "I love your podcast. I'm probably in for 80 hours." You have the chief product officer for Meta. I recommend you guys to friends and colleagues all the time. 20% of the audience is founders, executives 35%, technical operators 26%, capital ecosystem 21%, right? And when you scroll down, you look at the sponsorship cost, Neil. It shows you the packages, right? if you're looking for presenting sponsorship in spring 2026, you're going to pay $1.875 million for 4 episodes. And then a mid roll is going to be $1.25 million. And then the costs continue to jack up. Fall 2026, mid roll is going to be $1.5 million. Presenting sponsors, $2.2 million.
Wait, so how much for so for 4 episodes it's $1 million.
N-
That's what it shows here.
So 4 episodes,
That's in it depends what season,
yeah,
but like if you go into 2026, it's
because
1.5 for
1.5.
mid-roll, presenting is 2.2.
Yeah. Right now, if you and I wanted to go for fall, assuming this is a really good audience for us, right, we'd be paying $1 million. So 250 grand an episode, and then it continues to jack up. But this is like the pinnacle, I think, of podcast ads that does well. And this is nice, but I still like our businesses more.
Yes. I don't like running a media company.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think Acquired has done a really good job. I think what I would do, is try to look for episodes, like, if we're trying to, do podcast ads, I know for a fact a ton of founders listen to founders, but you can't buy ads on that one, okay? I know a ton of, founders executives listen to Invest Like the Best. I know they listen to Acquired, and so this is one of those situations where it's like, oh, the attention is there, but try to buy the underpriced attentions for maybe the up and comers. Unfortunately, founders and Invest Like the Best are not up and comers.
Yep.
Maybe you need to find some others that are up and comers. But 450 grand an episode, good job to them.
Yep. On a sad note, did you just see Hulk Hogan just passed away?
He did?
Yeah.
No way.
Cardiac arrest. Oh, that sucks.
What?
Yeah, 71 years old.
Hulk Hogan was a great marketer.
Great marketer.
Or was it the WWE?
Probably a combination of both. I think it was also his personality. I remember watching his show when I was a kid or much
Thunder in
younger.
Paradise? The
No,
one here where he's on the boat?
with his family.
No, I didn't
He
see
had
that.
like a reality
Oh,
TV
it was
show,
like a Kardashians, but
and then
Hogan?
he regrets passing up on a grill, like the George Foreman grill. I think they reached out to him earlier,
Yeah.
and that was one of his regrets in life.
Dude, Hulk Hogan was The Rock and Stone Cold before The Rock and Stone Cold.
Uh-huh.
So that's sad. Okay, pick one more before we
All right, last one. Let's go with the Coldplay's affair. CEO daughter did something diabolical.
Okay, this is a good one. This is a good one. Okay, so do you want to explain what happened with the Coldplay? Just to set anybody, if anybody's been living under a rock, this happened like maybe a week ago. But
So the astronomer, I believe, the astronomer CEO, was at a Coldplay event. I believe it was in Australia
I don't know.
or wherever it was, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
He had a picture of his head of HR or something, human resources. I forgot what department. But I'm pretty sure it was
Not a
HR.
picture, but you know the kiss cams when
Yeah,
you're at the
kiss
sports
cam,
event. Yeah, yeah.
and they were like hugging or
Or like, like a Titanic pose.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they turned away because they realized they were on camera. And Chris Martin, I believe his name is, Coldplay, right? The singer. He said either they're shy or they're having an affair.
And
And
he was joking, right?
yeah,
But
he was
turns out it
joking,
was an
but it was
affair.
a fair, and they
Yeah.
both have family.
Yeah.
Although the CEO, I saw an Instagram account with his daughter, but I'm like, he doesn't have a daughter. He
Mhm.
only has 2 sons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So here's the deal. The daughter of the astronomer CEO racked up 100,000 followers and over 15 million views on TikTok overnight, right? But to your
Wow.
point, the only problem is the astronomer CEO doesn't have a daughter, right? So someone stole some girl's photos on Instagram and then told stories and made them go viral. And what happened was, this was really smart. They plugged all the stories. Everything eventually went towards a meditation app, right? Through
Yes,
the
I saw
carousels.
that.
So this is diabolical marketing. So it's like, this is like it's just some random girl here. It says reconnecting with life after your dad's affair makes national news, right? And look, like 3.5 million likes, 1158 comments, right? And then this one over here, 127K followers, 4.4 million likes. Mariana is her name. And then look, it links to this, I think
App.
download Copia. I guess Copia is the meditation thing. And you can see, I bet you're sobbing about this on a yacht or a PJ. I don't feel bad for rich people, right? She's like, hashtag true. But this person doesn't exist. And so everything's going to be okay. Breath work, please. I got the Copia app. It's letting me log every time I freak out, right? And manifesting so cute. So basically, it was all made up, and this person capitalized on the attention because everyone on the internet was talking about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to be very fast on these things and creative.
Yeah. Not the type of marketing that probably either of you or I would want to do, but
I'm just not that fast. So
it's not even that fast. It's just I think it's too deceitful.
It is, but, that's I think if you're in your 20s, you're down to try stuff
Yeah,
like this. I
yeah,
think in our
totally.
20s, we probably would've tried things like this, but it's just, we're a little older now, so it's
Yeah.
not for us. Anyway, that's it for today, guys, and, we'll see you tomorrow.